Henry Cavill has exited the Witcher series, but he's got a lot on his plate, including Warhammer 40K, but he's also got another franchise on his plate with the same director. We're going to get into that right now on the Sundowners Club. So Sterling, our pal Henry Cavill, who exited the Witcher series, which initially I was a little bummed that he was exiting The Witcher, but knowing where the series was going, I think it was a smart move on his part.
All right.
He gave everything he had to it, and they went in a different direction that really didn't honor the lore of the books. And so he exited. And we've covered on this channel, and I know you're a big fan of Warhammer 40K, which is still in development. It's coming to Amazon. And we actually have a director for that series. And according to FandomWire, the John Wick director, Chad Stahelski, is going to be working with Henry Cavill, but not only on Warhammer 40K, he's got another franchise he's going to be working with him on, and it is none other than the reboot of Highlander. While we're talking about the Highlander reboot, stop what you're doing right now, hit that like button, let us know what you think, leave a comment, hit the notifications bell, and most importantly, hit subscribe so that we can continue to grow our channel. Now, we had rumors and talk about this before the strike, but there'd been nothing really out there on it for a while. And the director, Chad Stahelski, recently was on the I think it's the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast, which is, I think, Josh Horowitz or John Horowitz. And so I gave an update on the Highlander reboot. And we want to talk right now and get your thoughts on what you think based on what he said. So the 1986 movie that starred Christopher Lambert, it was cheesy. It was a B-level movie that had things in it that kind of didn't make sense. Like,
I still enjoy it, though.
Sean Connery playing the Spaniard.
Yeah, I don't know.
It didn't make any sense, but it became a cult favorite. Like,
I love that movie when I was a kid.
You couldn't get that movie at the rental store, the video rental store at the time. It was constantly being checked out. And so, yeah, he was on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast speaking to Josh Horowitz. So we want to give credit to Josh Horowitz for conducting the interview with Chad Stahelski. But here's what Chad Stahelski said. He said, I think we have some very good elements now. The trick is when you have a tagline, there can be only one, which is one of the great taglines of a movie. You can't just kill everybody the first time. I'll say it for you first. Our story engages a lot of the same characters and stuff like that, but we've also brought in elements of the TV show. Remember Duncan MacLeod? Mm-hmm. That show ran for 6 seasons, so it's really cool.
Yeah.
It had a loyal following, and so it's really cool that he's going to implement parts of the TV show into this reboot. And he says, you know, we've also brought in elements of all the TV shows, and we're trying to do a bit of a prequel, a setup to The Gathering, so we have room to grow the property. And so it's going to be very interesting. You know, first of all, give me your thoughts. You know, Henry Cavill playing Connor MacLeod in a reboot of the Highlander. Let's start there. What do you think about Henry Cavill playing Connor MacLeod?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy they're doing a reboot because, I mean, I enjoyed those first few movies.
Really cool movies.
Yeah, I mean, they are kind of cheesy when you go back and watch them, but they were entertaining. And then the show, I enjoyed that TV show.
It was really good for its time.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely was really good for its time. And Adrian Paul played Duncan MacLeod and did a really good job. And so, you know, it was one of those that I watched. I don't know that I watched every episode, but, you know, it also makes me long for the days when TV series did 20-something episodes instead of 8 on streaming providers.
Yeah.
But, you know, Henry made comments when the news initially came out of the reports of him playing Connor MacLeod. He said, very exciting news today. I've been a fan of the Highlander since I was a lad, from the movies and all of their 80s. Queen slathered glory to the TV show with an actor who looked remarkably like one of my brothers. So, you know, he goes on to say, being not shy with swords, and now we know Henry has a lot of experience with swords. Yeah. And having a director as talented as Chad Stahelski at the helm, this is an opportunity like no other. Deep diving into the franchise storytelling with all the tools at our disposal is going to make this an adventure, and hopefully all of you shall never forget. And he also says, as you can see from the swipe, I've lately been dipping into some of my Scottish heritage, and inadvertently getting my baseline research underway. So really cool stuff. Henry Cavill, I think this is a great project for him. He's got a loyal fan base that, wants to see him in anything, that has to do with action, suspense, medieval. He's got that hero type. He can even play an anti-hero. And so I'm looking forward to this. But I think that this is interesting that the second part of this story that we want to get into is not only is Chad Stahelski working with him on the Highlander, but also Warhammer 40K. And we know that that's in development at Amazon, and there's a lot of interest around Warhammer 40K. Henry Cavill, as you mentioned, is a big Warhammer 40K fan, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Like, he paints the models and everything. I mean, he's really into it.
Yeah, so there was some news, not on the show itself or the series that's coming out on Amazon, because information's sparse right now with the writers and actors strike going on. But tell me what you know about this trailer that just came out for the new game that's going to be coming out that's around Warhammer 40K.
Yeah, it's
in that world.
It's Space Marine 2, which is a sequel to the original, which came out I think around like 2010, 2011, something like that, and follows the Captain Titus of the Ultramarines. And it's kind of like a third-person shooting, action adventure game, and it's one of the few. Most Warhammer games are actually not very good. I mean,
the older ones for sure.
Well, I mean, they come out with games all the time, but they're just kind of like cheaply made, just like licensed products.
The video games.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And because it's based off a tabletop game, and it has incredible lore and, deep stories. And I kind of got into it through the games because, I mean, the art and the characters and all of it looks amazing, but most of the games just aren't very good.
The trailer is about 8 minutes long, that extended
Space
gameplay
Marine
trailer.
2. Yeah.
It's amazing.
It does look incredible. It looks like the first great Warhammer game.
Does that give you a little bit of a hint of maybe what Henry Cavill is going to be playing and how it's going to look visually? Kind of give you an idea, because to me, that was a lot of world building going on. I mean, he's kind of battling the Hive, right?
Yeah,
And
the Tyranids. But I mean, if they put a lot of money into it, I mean, this could be a kind of a renaissance for Warhammer content. If you have a big budget TV show and a big budget game, I mean, this could be. It's a great series that really hasn't gotten the love it deserves, honestly, in other mediums. Like I said, it's just kind of. It started off as that tabletop experience, which I think is great for people who enjoy that, but I never really got into the board game aspect of it. But
the timing of it's interesting, because they can put out the game and they bring in this huge fan base for it, and then boom, you hit a trailer for the new series on Amazon.
Yeah,
and you time it. Now, obviously, we have to get past the strike, and then they have to, announce that Warhammer 40K has moved up on the schedule, and we don't know where they are in the scripts and the development. We just know that it's in development at Amazon. But these are two really cool projects for Henry Cavill. The Highlander reboot, Warhammer 40K, and I have a feeling that there's going to be something else come out as soon as we get past the strike around Henry Cavill. There's a few IPs out there that I think are circling Henry to play a role within their franchises. So, it seems like his plate's not going to be for lack of content.
He likes to do stuff that he personally enjoys, and he makes stuff for the fans. He makes stuff kind of for himself, So,
and I'll tell you, we've covered the Superman, movies from James Gunn, in the reboot for the DCU. A lot of fans, are behind Henry Cavill, still want to see him back as Superman. Right. So he's got a lot of fans pulling for him, and I think he just needs to put out the things that he enjoys.
Yeah,
and he's got obviously several things in the hopper. We're going to be covering both of them. I'm a big Highlander fan. You've got the tagline, "There can be only one," and you've got a director that quite frankly kicked ass on the John Wick series, and so I think it's a good director in the seat, and we're going to be here to cover it. So we wanted to just catch you guys up on the Highlander reboot, and Warhammer 40K. And look for the game coming out. And tell everybody one more time. Give us the official title of the game.
It's a Space Marine 2.
So Space Marine 2, Warhammer 40K. And they haven't, I don't know if they've come out with a date yet for the release. But
it's supposed to be the end of this year, but it's probably going to fall into next year.
Yeah, so keep your eyes out for that. And we'll put some links to watching the extended gameplay trailer on the channel. But we hope you enjoyed the content. Remember, if you like what you see and what you hear, leave us a comment, hit that like button, and click on the notifications bell so that you can get notifications when we put content out. And most importantly, hit subscribe so that we can continue to grow our channel in TCB.